What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of U4 Gundam GQuuuuuuX. This is episode 4, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yeah. Reason for being this is we're starting off with episode 4 is because it's been like about like a little over a month since we watched the movie, which spans the first 3 episodes of the series. Um,
Yeah, well, and the movie is basically just the first, yeah, like you said, yeah, the first 3 episodes, and I was wondering if there maybe was going to be some differences in I guess, the broadcast version of the episodes, but apparently there, I think like the main difference from what one of my friends said was that they rearranged some of the scenes, like the scene, a lot of the stuff, the Char stuff was apparently significantly cut down in the series version, and it was like rearranged to be like to happen later, which was kind of
yeah,
weird.
they made the Char prologue the second episode of the series, while
Yeah,
everything else was pretty much the same. Um, yeah, so it's there's still the mystery as to what happened to Char and the RX-78, which is now called the Red Gundam now. And of course, there are still some fallout, of the aftermath of the battle. Despite Char's disappearance, Zeon did eventually win the war against the Federation.
yeah. So the main plot with episode 4 is pretty much the introduction of this one new character. That they just call her the Witch. And apparently she was someone who fought in the 1 Year War. But I don't think she's a character from the original series. I think she's a new character. Um, but she apparently, like, we find out from some flashbacks that she, I guess, had witnessed Char's disappearance. Uh, and I guess she was someone who was like known as being some, like, I don't know, she was kind of uh, a well-known person, I guess, from this version of the 1 Year War. Um,
Yeah, so like she had like her accolades is like she managed to you know get 100 kills during the war, and
yeah,
and of course, but ever since the war ended, she decided to, I guess, semi-retire from her battlefield life and decided to start a family. But of course, due to the Red Gundam's reappearance, she her desire for revenge resurfaced, and she decides to take it upon herself to take part in the clan battle to, well, in a way, to get revenge on the Gundam, even though technically Char's not piloting the thing.
you know what's funny is that I read a review where somebody pointed out that it's just kind of weird how the clan battles, they're supposed to be this, like, I guess, underground, these underground, like, illegal battles, but they're being like broadcast on television, so everybody knows about them, including probably the government, and somehow the government hasn't found out, like, hasn't raided any of the the places where these clan battles are taking place, and like putting a stop to it, especially considering that Machu has like a secret, like, military tech that she shouldn't have. But
Yeah.
it's just kind of weird how that just never really gets brought up, and everybody just kind of like almost watches it like it's just a regular sport. And even though it's supposed to be this, like, supposedly, like, underground activity, but it really
Yeah.
isn't. Um,
And Chalia Bull is still keeping tabs on what's happening with the Gundam GQuuuuuX as well as the Red Gundam. I mean, like, I'm curious, like, what his reason is for not making a move of reacquiring those two Gundams.
yeah,
Even though, like,
the only
he's
thing he's
very,
doing
very
right
aware of
now,
it.
it seems to be, is just observing, and he's not actually doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, ever since the end of the prologue, he made it his mission to find out what happened to Char and the Red Gundam. I mean, he's found the Red Gundam, but he's not. Um, I mean, I guess he's like, he's keeping a distance as for right now. But I really feel like he's gonna make a move, sometime, maybe later down in the series.
Yeah. So yeah, we learn a little bit more about the witch. And but I was kind of hoping that we would get a little bit more about the current state of, like, what's going on in the world after Xeon won the war. But we don't really get much about it. We only get, like, references to characters like Cecilia and Girin, though we don't really know exactly what they're up to. Um, so we don't really get any of that. It's just another setup for another this fight with the witch. That's mostly what this episode is, but it only like like I said, only gives her a little bit of slight development in this episode, basically telling us that she has a family. She has a wife and a son. We only get like a very brief sequence where we see her son, and also her like visiting the grave of what I guess one of her fallen comrades from the 1 Year War. But other than that, like we don't really know anything about her, and also I guess that she wants, I guess she wants some kind of revenge or something for like what happened to, or I guess like what happened in the war is from what I could gather, because of how the fight and later on in the episode plays out.
Yeah, but like I
Also,
said,
well, the other thing too is that we learn like not what Shuji wants, but I guess according to him, he can communicate with Gundam, and the Gundam, I guess it has some kind of will of its own, and it wants to go to Earth and see like a flower. So I guess this is foreshadowing for what might happen later. But that's the other thing I'm curious about too, is like what the state of the Earth is, because in the main Gundam timeline, the Earth has been so polluted that like people still live there, but it's pretty much almost uninhabitable, I think, for most of the Earth. So a lot of people
yeah.
like live in space and in the colonies.
Yeah, what's also interesting that Machu is also interested in going to Earth as well. So she has a design, she has a reason as to why she wants to continue with the
Well,
whole clan thing.
well, and also
Um,
considering that Xeon is very much like if Xeon won the war, like I'm curious as to how they would treat the Earth if they wouldn't just completely like almost like the Death Star just blow it up or something, because they have no reason to to keep the Earth around, unless there's some kind of treaty or something, or there's some kind of agreement to where they can't do anything to the Earth after they won the 1 Year War.
yeah, it's just that what happened that after the 1 year, well, this iteration of the 1 year war, uh, is the big question. We still don't have a lot of post-war world building as of right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is
hope
what I was kind
you
of
know,
hoping for in this episode, but yeah, we don't get much of it. I'm guessing maybe we'll get some of it throughout the series.
yeah. So the overall fight scene between the witch and the red Gundam, it was pretty good. It was I'd say it's so far one of the
Yeah,
best scenes in the show so far.
it's just Machu doesn't really take part in the fight though. It's just pretty much just a fight between Shuji and the witch, um,
Yeah,
and Shuji just basically abuses his new type abilities to dodge all of her attacks.
yeah. I mean, well, there are a couple of occasions where what was it? The witch was able to land, at least, well, nearly was able to land some good blows against the red Gundam, but
Yeah,
unfortunately, I think what happened is like um that what was it, that new type flash, or what that was it, that telekinetic, like
yeah, like the precognition.
the precognition, like catches her off guard, which allows Shuji to basically just stab right through her and immediately just kill her.
Yeah, and then I guess like moments before she dies, I think she sees what Shuji's true, I guess what his wish is, and I guess that the implication is that she understands him, and then that's where we see the
Yeah,
scene with her like holding her son. I'm wondering though if her death is going to like lead to some major plot point, or because I mean obviously like I think her family either maybe something might happen with that, but I don't know. I mean, because it seems like they put a lot of emphasis on her death, like it's really tragic, but that's my issue with it, is that we don't really get to know who she is.
yeah. I mean,
Maybe like
Machi.
retroactively we'll find out who she is like after her death, like maybe that's what they're doing with her character, but as of right now, like it's just really weird how they just have her and very briefly in the episode, and then she just tragically dies. um
Yeah. I mean, well, Machu like did have some interaction with the witch even before this, and she knows that she has a son and and husband, And of
Mhm.
course, after the battle, she's clearly shaken as to what Shuji did to her, and she felt like there could have been another way to prevent this from happening. But
Yeah.
I really do feel like that Machu is gonna have some conflict with Suji's desire of wanting to continue this whole thing.
Yeah, that might be where they're going with it. Is there might be some kind of, yeah, like you said, some kind of conflict with her and Shuji where they just have very different goals, or then that might like lead them to be like just down different paths, I guess. But um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much the episode. I mean it was okay. It's just kind of more tournament battles like we've seen in the first three episodes, and it really is kind of giving me like Witch from Mercury vibes, which I'm just I didn't care for Witch from Mercury, so it has a lot of similarities to it though so far, with how like it starts out like it makes you think it's going to go in one direction, but it goes in a completely different direction. Um, and like with Witch from Mercury, it started out like making you think this is going to be this really dark and serious Gundam series where they're going to focus on like these people with like prosthetic limbs and stuff, and it's going to be about this war with, I guess, these different factions. But that's not what happened, because it turned into a tournament series where it was like Gundams fighting in tournaments in a school setting. And that's kind of what this is, where it started out, doing like a recreation of the original series with Char, but different things happening. And then it almost pulls out the rug from under us, and now it's a series with Gundams fighting in tournament battles in a school setting. And also it also has a really like weird art style similar to Witch from Mercury, but somehow like a even weirder than Witch from Mercury, which is just like I wasn't even really much of a fan of the Witch from Mercury art style, but this one's just even more like, I don't know if I'd say off-putting, but just really bizarre. Um, I don't know. I guess it takes some getting used to, but especially considering how the flashbacks had like a very different art style, how it very much looks similar to the original series, but then we go to this and it's just just very exaggerated proportions and stuff. Um, but yeah, I don't know. So far, I'm kind of mixed on the series. Like, I want to see where it goes in terms of plot and characters. I mean, it's Anno, so who knows where he could take it and like where he's going to take the plot. Um, I'm honestly kind of hoping he maybe pulls the rug out from under us again, and where we think we know where the series is going, but then it just does some kind of 180 or something. Maybe that's where he's going to go with it, but as for right now, we just really can't say. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I'm hoping that at least, because that the other problem with Witch from Mercury is that it really felt like the ending of the series especially was incredibly rushed, and they really fumbled like in pretty much the latter half of it. So I'm kind of hoping that at least with this series they know where the plot is going and they know how it's going to end, and it's not going to be like totally just completely rushed like Witch from Mercury was. Um, but yeah, we still don't I still don't think we really know like how long the series is going to be either. So, or if it's going to be like 2 seasons or just 1 season. Witch from Mercury was like a full like 20 some episode season, which I really didn't feel was enough time for it to tell the story it seemed like it wanted to tell. So hopefully that's not the case here if it wants to tell like a longer narrative or something. But I guess we'll have to see where it goes. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really have much else to say about the episode, though. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
Yeah. I mean, I like nobody knows what the actual episode count of this show is. Like, I just hope it's not a one course series, because if they're really having to tell the story of like like an an altered version of the universe era, like they would need at least like 2 cores worth of material, especially if they were trying to explain away like the whole mystery of what happened to Shar, and perhaps like how his Gundam ended up in the hands of like somebody else, and for what reason, like how he's able to communicate with it. It's another question.
Yeah.
Um, I,
Like my main issue, and like I've been saying, is just like the kind of the lack of world building in terms of what's currently going on, and also like what happened to some of the original series characters, especially. That's really what I'm curious about. But maybe that's something they're saving, until the to happen later, especially like characters like Amuro.
Yeah, I mean, we still don't even know. We like Amuro makes no appearance in, like in the prologue. Even we already know what happened in the movie version.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised that that they re-released it for the past 3 weeks. But I like what I'm also a little surprised that they decided to um cut down the prologue section for the broadcast version for whatever reason. I mean,
Yeah.
unless they somehow decide to re-release it in some manner. I don't know how they're gonna end up doing it. Maybe it's possible they could bring it back as a Blu-ray release if
Yeah.
if they ever plan on doing it.
Well, and the problem with that too is that the people that hadn't seen the movie are gonna probably be a little bit confused since they cut that sequence down for the broadcast version.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's yeah, I feel like that's kind of an unfortunate thing that they ended up doing that. I mean, you're just unless they weren't anticipating that people were gonna put some attention to this show, but I don't know. It's a weird decision for them to just cut it down like that. Um, uh, for something that people can actually watch it on stream, which is of course is being aired on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because Amazon Prime Video is now forcing advertisements down your throat, even if though you pay for the service. I mean,
Yeah,
as much
I
as I
mean,
hate Crunchyroll, at least it doesn't do that yet. Um,
yeah,
but there's like two different ad breaks in a 25-minute episode that each of them, like one of them lasts over a minute, the other one lasts about a minute. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, which I'm just it's pretty much like I don't know. I really can't stand Prime Video for that.
yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, it was an okay episode. I mean, there wasn't much in terms of what happened. Like the post. I guess you could say the post film, like release uh episode. But yeah, I mean, I hope we get more for the next episode. Hopefully we get more interaction with Machu and this other girl. I think was Nyan. What
Oh yeah,
that's her
Neon.
name?
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, there's only a little bit of interaction between them, but it's funny watching the ending sequence though because it really makes them seem like they're best friends, even though in the actual series they don't really talk that much, is at least not so far. So, uh,
I mean, not yet. I mean, we don't
yeah,
really get this. Even in the movie, they never really interacted all that much,
yeah,
outside of them talking to each other about like the whole, what was it, the whole clan bat thing. And I think the only significant interaction Machu has is with Shuji and the Red Gundam. So I mean, we'll see where it goes with with her interactions with Shuji, but I really do feel like they need to uh get back the character interaction between her and Neon.
yeah, yeah, I agree. But yeah, guys, that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.